welcome to a little how to or like calculator tutorial. There we go. That's a little better lighting. So we can use calculators in class now, and that comes with, a lot of new buttons, and maybe we don't know what they do. So the point of this video is just to kind of get you more familiar with the buttons, double check that you're using them correctly. Okay. So the first thing we gotta do is set it up and make sure that's good to go. So these are fancy calculators, which means they have a lot of different settings. So first of all, turning it on, you're gonna push the on button. And if you have a kind like this, it's located right here. So you just push on, and then it has this little cursor thing that's blinking. That's how you know it's on. Okay. The next thing you want to do is to clear out the information it already has. So there's some fancy things where these calculators can remember like answers you've typed in before. And so if you're using it after someone else has used it, you want to make sure that it's reset. And so that whatever the person before you typed in is not affecting yours anymore. I'm going to go turn on the big light real quick, and I'll see if that makes the screen a little bit easier to see. Oh, that's so much better. Woo! All right, so to reset it, this second button, do you see how it's green? It lets you access all of these menus and other buttons that are green above it. So it's kind of like a shift key on a keyboard. So to clear out its memory and kind of start over, I'm going to push second. Then I push the 0 button because that's the green one that says reset. And then I'm going to hit 2 for yes. And it says memory cleared. And then to exit this screen, you're going to click clear. Okay. So let's say that you accidentally clicked something and you're in this random menu and we don't know what any of these things are. And you're like, oh my gosh, how do I get out of it? You can click clear. Sometimes that works. But you can also click second and then mode, because the shift key on mode is quit. And it takes you out of it. Okay? So sometimes clear works. Sometimes you have to hit mode and second mode. Okay? So take a second and clear it out. So let's practice this one. So push second. 0 for reset. 2 for yes. And then clear to exit that screen. Okay. So you can push clear or you can quit by doing second and then the mode button in case you get into a weird menu that you don't want. Okay. All right, something else we need to make sure is that it has the correct settings. Okay. So you're going to click mode, and it has all of these things. And sometimes that makes it weird. Right, like 6 plus 3 is 9, but then it gives me all these extra decimals that I don't need. And sometimes it does other random crazy stuff. Okay. So to check that it has the correct settings, you're going to click the mode button. And then you're going to hit enter on the settings you want so that they're highlighted. So right now, this solid highlight is on this one. So I want it to be on degrees, or DEG. Okay, and I'm going to hit enter. Now it moved over there. The next one, I want it to be on norm. So I'm good there. That one's already selected. Then with these float and then 0 through 9, you want it to be on float. And then you can do classic. There's not like a huge difference between these two. Okay, so you want all of this first row of things selected. Then I'm going to hit second quit, and it saved my answers. Oh, I did 6 plus 3. And now it shows up normal without all the extra decimals. Okay, so do it with me. Click Mode, and then here's your arrow pad. You can go up, down, left, and right. Okay, make sure that all of the first ones are the ones that are selected. Hit Enter to select them. Then hit Second, and then Mode to quit. Okay, so if your calculator, you're typing things in and it's showing up these like crazy things, go through and make sure that the settings are right. Okay, so this front page is all about how to turn it on, basics, and setup. Okay, I guess I didn't go over it on the page, but how to turn it off. Do you see how the on button right above it, it says off in green? So I'm going to hit second, the green button, and then off, and it turns it off. Okay? All right, let's practice using it. So the negative button and the subtraction buttons are different, and it does matter. Okay? So the negative button's down here. If you have a different type of calculator, it'll look similar. It might be in a different spot. But the negative button has the parentheses around it, and the subtraction button is this one. Okay, so they are very different. It does indeed matter. Okay. So if you're entering a negative, you have to use the negative button. You cannot use this minus button as a negative because it remembers the answer before and it's thinking that you're trying to subtract from something that you did before. And then also, just like a good mathematical habit to get into is to put parentheses around all your negatives. Okay? So then to do a fraction, there's a fraction button. It's this n over d. Oh, this one's different than mine. Oops, wrong button. Okay. So if I want to type 1/4, I'm going to do 1, the fraction button, 4. Okay. And then, I don't know that I want to go over that. Does MathPrint make this better? Okay, if you're in MathPrint mode, so all I did was instead of Classic, I was in MathPrint. It shows up as a fraction like this. You can do 1 and then arrow over to 4. So I would go with MathPrint. So go ahead and flip your page over and then just add MathPrint to your settings page. So it should have degree, norm, float, and then MathPrint. I forgot that one mattered. That's my bad. Okay, so if I want to add two fractions together or multiply fractions, I can do 3 times 1/2. Oops. Okay, and it tells me that's 3/2. That's correct. Okay, you can also use it to divide. Okay, so that's how you do fractions. Okay, if you type something wrong, like let's say you wanted to say 3 minus a -3, okay, but I use the subtraction as my negative, it gives me a syntax error, and it's just saying, you typed something that you can't do. Please fix it. Just click clear to exit out of that. So now I'm going to make sure that I type the negative in its place, and then it works. Okay? So if you get a syntax error, just hit clear and then try retyping it. Okay? All right, so if you make a mistake, let's say I want to type 3 minus -9. Okay, Oh, but I forgot to type the 9. I went too fast. Use this arrow pad, and you can fix it and type, okay? So let's do the example of 4 minus 5. I typed a minus, but I meant to type a plus. So I'm going to arrow back to where I want to fix it and change it to a plus. And then I can just hit enter, and then it did it right, okay? So if you need to do multi-step math, like 4 divided by 2, then plus 12, you need to do 4 divided by 2 first, is 2, and then my calculator, remembers that I was just talking about 2, so I can just hit plus 12, and it remembered that I'm trying to do 2, my previous answer, plus 12, okay? So there's a lot more things. Those are the basic things I could think of. I know that there are buttons that have X's on them, okay? You can't type variables into these. That's like a whole different thing, okay? So don't try to type X into it. All right, let's practice doing some together. Sorry, this is taking forever. Shake it off. Okay. I'm good to go. So I'm going to just practice doing these. I have a nicer looking paper. Okay. So -4 plus -8. It has parentheses around it, so I want to type it just as I see it. So I'm going to use the -4 plus, then these are your parentheses button. So I do a left one, type -8, then a right one to close it, and I get my answer of -12. Okay. So same thing, -2, I use the negative, then the 2. This is a subtraction, so minus. Then this inside the parentheses means that this is a negative. So I'm going to go back to the negative button, 2. Close the parentheses with this button. You should get 0. Okay. So this one is -8 times parentheses -2, 16. Okay. I'm going to skip to the fractions. Let's do just this one. I'm going to type 1 minus, then I hit my fraction button, 7/6. So all I did was I typed a 7, then I hit the next, wrong buttons, sorry. I typed 7, and then I moved the down arrow, and then I typed 6, enter, gives me -1/6. Okay. All right, let's try 2 fractions. So negative, then I hit my fraction button, 5, then I hit the down arrow, put a 3 there, then I hit the right arrow to get out of the fraction, then minus, have a new fraction, 1, down arrow, 3, enter, -2. Decimals, we have -9, here's your decimal, 0.6 divided by 7.5. It's -1.28. And then multiplying, we're going to do 58. Then I can just type it like it looks. So parentheses, this is a negative, -0.1, close the parentheses, So there I hit the wrong one. So I'm going to arrow over, hit the correct one, negative 5.8. Okay, so make sure you're following along. Try some of those on your own. Again, if you get a syntax error, just hit clear and double check that your modes are all correct. Nice job, guys. Okay, so I'm going to hit clear, second, on.